of soul.
This is Bass Talk Live. Your host, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pangrack. BTL is brought to you by Lowrance, Lose, Strike King Lures, Bass Cat Boats, Ducket Fishing, Spro, APCO, Big Bite Baits, Sunline, and TH Marine. BTL coming at you. Good Monday, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, a good week this week. Got a great show today. And, dude, I got to tell you, man, I am still working on trying to get this Nielsen person on the show. So this week, a different kind of week, like what we did when I had the dental stuff. I got to go back to the dentist on Tuesday. So today we're going to have Steve Bowman on, talk a little Hall of Fame, talk a little memories with one of the guys that really has been here from the start of the Elite Series, obviously with all of his work with JM. And then Tuesday, I'm off to the dentist. Wednesday, big thing going on next week at Lake Guntersville. First time in a long time that a fall tournament is taking place at Lake Guntersville. We're going to have Matt Herron on, kind of hopefully to give us some insight on what we can expect at Lake Guntersville in the month of September. And then Thursday, I am keeping open, trying to get this guy's schedule fit in to where we can bring this person on Thursday.
Oh, so 4 shows this week.
No, we have no show on Tuesday.
Oh, sorry.
I'm at the dentist.
Oh, okay. I missed that first part. I don't know how
You were what? You weren't paying attention?
No, I wasn't.
I got to go back under the needle, man.
Oh,
Anyway.
that sucks.
Yeah. So, good stuff this week, and all kinds of stuff going on with this auction. We'll go through some of the items.
Bass Fishing Hall of Fame auction.
Yeah. There's some cool stuff on
Steve
there.
Bowman was inducted. This is into the 2020 Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and obviously with COVID and everything going on, they're not having their typical auction. They're not having their award ceremony. They're doing this virtual thing. So I thought it'd be cool to have Steve come on and talk a little bit about the auction. You know, Steve's been heavily involved with the Hall of Fame. It just kind of works out that he is being inducted, and rightfully so, for his contributions through the media over his, 30 plus years.
He was actually like a
in this
journalist in Arkansas, outdoor writer. And then if you don't know who he is, you know his work, because you remember when ESPN Outdoors launched back in, I think, right around Y2K. God, it seems forever ago. Remember?
Well, it is. It's 20 years ago, man.
Everybody had the canned food and their loaded weapons waiting for all the computers to crash.
All kinds of
their
jobs.
Bunkers moving out, learning how to pluck chickens and stuff.
All kinds of jobs created just because of the year 2000.
He was the main guy who launched ESPN Outdoors in 2001.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's been doing it forever. He actually, I got to know him back in my collegiate days. He was actually running back then it was called the College Bass, Under Armour College Bass National Championship there on the
What's it called now?
The Carhartt Bassmaster College Series.
Okay.
And Hank runs it.
Gotcha.
Tripp's son.
Gotcha.
So
looking forward to having Steve on, and then we'll have Matt Herron on Thursday, no show on Tuesday, and then we will look to fill that Thursday spot. All right, man, you had another bang out weekend, making a trip, making a deposit at the bank account. You had a nice little 50 boat field, top 10
44.
finish. 44 boats?
Yeah, it's the ABA District Regional there on the Arkansas River, trying to make the Ray Scott tournament, which is next spring on Lake Chickamauga. It's like the $100,000 tournament anyway. 2 days on the Arkansas River. And remember, I said after the June Open event that I finished 62nd in, and I didn't know Kerr before then, right? I said, hopefully...
You had never been on.
I said, I feel like this sets me up for a good finish in the ABA.
Yeah.
Which I needed, so... I ran 70 miles down there. Dude, this is cool. Do we have real quick time just to tell this story?
Yeah, that's why I set it up.
So I run all the way down to Applegate Marina. I'm like, already been caught, ABC, release fish, gonna do my thing. And it's a long run. You got to run 28 miles to the lock, then another 30 miles, and you get down
Anybody make that run with you?
there were 13 the first day, 6 the second day.
Okay.
So I go down there, get a couple bites, and I'm like, God, it is just to go fish a couple marina slips is a long run. Let's go find something else, some grass. So I go looking grass and stuff from June, and I'm nothing. I'm not getting any bites. I'm like, this is not going to be good. So I'm idling out of this spot, and there's like, some obvious points and stuff. And I'm like, I wonder if I can throw a crankbait on this stuff. So I keep throwing a crankbait, and it keeps getting shallow. So I keep just bumping out, just trying to stay on that edge. And all of a sudden, I'm like 50 yards out, and I find a shell bed where the channel dips in, loaded on it. I made like, what are you flipping around over there?
No, I'm trying to get to a blank page.
Oh.
Sorry.
Loaded on it. Made like 3 casts, caught 2, lost 1. So I run back there in the day 1 of the tournament. 70 miles down there, don't get down there till 8:30. Fish it for an hour, nothing. Go into the marina, nothing. Go back and fish it, nothing. Run to a couple other spots, nothing. I mean, it is a...
Are you in full panic mode?
No, I'm not, because here's the thing. The beautiful
I
thing
can't
on
wait
the
to see
Arkansas
the
River
film
is
on that.
you only have 2 or 3 decisions to make when you're down there because you got such a short day. So I tell Quentin, my co-angler, I said, dude, we're going back one more time. Nothing. And I said, well, I wonder if there's a little bit less current. I wonder if they slid on the backside of this thing. And it's like noon or 12:40 right now.
And you had nothing.
And I've got nothing. And he doesn't have anything. And I'm like, I swear, there were a lot of fish.
What time do you have to be back through the lock?
The lock over at 1:45.
So you don't have that much time.
No, because I'm another 30 miles from the lock. And I said, I wonder with this lack of current if they slid on the backside of this thing. It's 11:40. I kind of ease around. I get on the backside of the thing. I have a limit. My co-angler has a limit by 11:50. So I get back through.
That's freaking awesome.
10 pounds, run down there, do the same thing again the next day, except the second day I start on the backside of it. There's a barge in the lock. I have to wait an hour. So I don't get down there till 9. I've got a limit by 9:30.
It was the spot.
It was just the spot. And then Nick Kincaid put a lot of work in, did the aluminum boat thing, didn't lock. He actually fished the Arkansas River stuff. I'm throwing a drop shot, a flat side. I threw a Carolina rig. Didn't get bit on it, but I threw it. He did the backwaters pop our flipping buzzbait type of deal and got me by a pound. But $1,600 check. Second, I got a plaque.
Nice.
And I made the Ray Scott on Chickamauga. So it was a good weekend between the Open and this. I'm breaking even.
So how many boats are in the Chick
I think
event?
there's like 200 some boats that are in that.
So was there an entry fee for this thing?
I think there might be. I don't know.
No, was there an entry fee for what you had this weekend?
$310 entry fee.
I thought it was like a regional or something.
It is.
But you still had to pay?
Yeah, $310. It was like their kind of like the BFL Super of there. Because the ABAs used to be the weekend series that was connected with Bass. They do a really good job of running it. Anyway, so that was my weekend. So I'm on it.
How many miles did you run?
I think it's like 60 something down there and back. So 120 times 2 is 240. And I probably ran 60 in practice. I ran 300 miles.
So let me ask you this. Did you bring up some shells?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So that's how you
3 or 4
because
different
initially
types of
it could have been a rock pile.
Right, 100%. But I kept bringing shells. And then on my drop shot, I had a tungsten teardrop drop shot, and I could feel it going like it didn't feel like rock. It felt like the shell.
Yeah. No, that's cool, dude.
But
that's,
anyway,
that's what you need in the month of September to find those magic spots.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of rivers, I have a couple gifts real quick for you. Speaking of rivers, what is a big problem on a lot of rivers, specifically on the TVA, affecting Gunnersville that's coming up, Chickamauga, some of the other lakes there, Kentucky Lake. We've had them on to talk about it. The Asian carp.
Okay. I mean, that's the obvious.
Right. So, AFCO, sponsor of the show, I talked to Matt Florentino, and I saw these cool shirts, and they're big on conservation. They have their AFCO pledge and all that stuff with the Shed family. Actually, I think Milt Shed's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Like the fishing hall, like
Yeah.
the freshwater fishing hall of fame, not just the bass fishing hall
Yeah.
of fame. So AFCO last week, and we didn't mention it, we'll mention it today though. They kicked off. I'll read it. AFCO kicked off our efforts to battle Asian carp with a $10,000 donation to the Lyon County Industrial Development Authority. These funds removed an additional 250,000 pounds of carp through commercial fishing subsidies, right? So they're donating that. They're teaming up with Mark Menendez, and they have a really cool shirt for sale, of which on the AFCO website, $5 of every shirt goes to combat Asian carp.
Very nice.
I have yours. I wore this actually under yesterday, so this is a tournament worn carp shirt. But
So it's got a little mojo on it then.
smells like 10 pounds. But here it is, and I got it right here. But dude, this is a really cool feel. It's a soft shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hard selling this.
It is.
$5
different.
goes to it, but check out the back of this thing. Is that not cool?
What's it say? War on carp.
Yeah.
That is
It's
cool.
like a $22 shirt. $5 of it goes to, which is a good chunk of it,
Yeah.
goes directly to combat Asian
Carp
carp,
on the TVA.
which we've talked about. But there it is. Go to AFCO.com. Thank you to Matt Florentino. I said, dude, I want to show those off on the show. He said,
Very
I'll
nice.
send it to you. So I have one for you. I also
So is
have,
that a double X?
I've got one for you. I've got an XL. It's running a little big. It'll fit you.
I
You're
don't know
looking
about
svelte
that.
these days.
Yeah.
So this is the second one I got. So I stopped by the bass tank the other day. See, I got the koozie there. So
Man,
I got you a shirt. So what do you do on the river? Who do you fish with?
Ed Barton.
So you spend a lot of time doing what for Ed Barton?
Netting his fish.
Here's the bass tank shirt. This is a double XL
Okay.
short sleeve. Here, show everyone the back of that.
It's got to be a net man. Yes, I am.
Professional net man.
I am the net man. I like the logo.
There you go. So next time you fish on the river with Ed Barton when he's throwing his white swim jig and spinner bait,
Yeah.
you can have the professional net man t-shirt.
I'm
on.
good. I'm good with the net man. I will wear that shirt loud and proud. So thank you.
Yeah, and
Thank
then
you,
a little bit
John.
of housekeeping, which
Okay.
you would like. Scott Dobson wins the Toyota Series on Lake St. Clair.
Which a bizarre event.
Yeah, they got to fish one half of the Detroit River for the majority of the event.
I'm working on getting some more
Erie
info
was off
on-
limits, Lake St. Clair was off
Dude.
limits, and obviously Canada was off limits, so they fished one stretch in the
In a
Miracle,
pond.
in the Miracle Mile. I guess it spreads out. But anyway, Dobson probably would have won regardless of where they had
Yeah.
it. Had 59.3, so not even 20 pounds, but that's his second win there. And then Liblong won on Dardanelle, and he is an Arkansas angler. So you had the Michigan guy winning in Michigan, the Arkansas guy winning.
HFA. I saw
in
Kevin Short was
Arkansas. He
up on the
top,
leaderboard.
Yeah, he made the top 10 there. I guess it was freaking really tough there at Dardanelle.
Yeah.
But Jason Liblong, he had the weights are really down in this event.
Yeah. It's
Wow,
September,
he won
dude.
$70,000 because he's a Phoenix owner. Less than 100 boat
Who's
field.
that? Dobson?
Liblong.
Oh.
I don't know. The complete results aren't pulling up. Oh, here it is. 40 pounds for 3 days.
Wow, that is brutal.
Yeah. Arkansas. Top 3. Kevin Short swung for the fences on the final day, but ended up in 10th. So $70,227 in a 100 and... Oh, they got over 100 boats in that one. So that's all the housekeeping that...
Yeah. I'm working on trying to get some clarification on that just bizarre situation that took place up on St. Clair.
Yeah, I think they had to get
weird.
it in, and like I said, they instead of having 2 lakes and well, obviously you couldn't go into Canada.
Yeah.
It was just one half of a river.
I don't know about that, but the guy that was going to win probably ended up winning anyway,
Yeah.
just like you said. Wow. All right, so you had, I want to go back to this. So you had 10 and 12 or 12 and 10?
I had 991 on the first day. This is where I messed up. Nick Kincaid beat me exactly by an ounce. He had 23.03. I had 22.03. So I catch my 5 on the first day, and I big eye him. I think I got 11 pounds.
And you had 9 pounds?
I had 991.
Yeah, 10 pounds.
Kincaid had right at 11.
Okay.
So the second day, I don't big eye him. I said, I got 12 pounds today in my 5 fish. Kincaid catches 12 pounds. So he beats me by a pound.
Okay.
I had him by like a tenth on yesterday. But he beat me exactly by a
So
pound.
how many bites did you get yesterday off of the shell bed?
Including shorts, I had 10, but I had 5 keeper bites off of it. And then I sat there for an hour and didn't get bit. Yeah, it was
Throwing all
crazy.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it was just bam, 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 bam. There's a limit. And
Done.
Yeah, and then this first day, I didn't fish after I caught my 5th one, which in hindsight, I should have. There was one deal. Man, there's a gizzard shad, probably 8 to 10 inches long. And it comes up and it just does the Greg Louganis out of the water, about 20 feet in front of the boat up on this point. And I'm like, whoa, that was cool. Here comes, bug-eyed, dark green back. I saw the whole fish, 5, 6, 7 pounder.
Yeah.
Just coming up, boom, 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 chasing this one gizzard shad. And I had a topwater on the deck, but I had a Chapo, Berkeley Chapo, like a Whopper Plopper style bait.
Yeah.
And I could get it in there, but you just can't get that bait to walk like you can a vixen or a spook or something.
Yeah.
And I think if I had a spook on, I was right in there while it was blowing this. You could see the fish. It looked like National
Was
Geographic.
this on top of the shell bed?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need this fish. It's like 5 pounder. And I got like 2 casts in while it's still blowing it, but it's just like brrr, across there and it's gone. I needed something that
How deep was this shell bed?
like 6 foot. It was shallow up there, yeah.
Huh. And yesterday there was no current.
Very
little
little current compared to practice. So what I think was that up on practice, I was catching them on the front side of it. I think, and like I said, I'm not an expert on this. The last 2 weeks, Arkansas River shell bed stuff and Toledo or Sam Rayburn,
Hey man,
grass punching.
Good people put themselves in good
But what
position.
I think happened was when I first found it, they were up there because there was more current that day.
Yeah.
And they
bait
were
fish,
actively,
obviously.
yeah, tons of shad.
Yeah.
Bait fish, they were feeding, but then they kind of slid back to the back side of it during less current.
Yeah.
So that's it.
All right. So we got this on video. Do you have this on video?
Yes, 100%. I'm finishing up the Sam Rayburn video today.
Okay.
And then I did a really good job of video in this ABA one. Like I was talking to the camera and stuff. So then the ABA one will be out. And then I had the Texoma on Thursday for the Bass Nation qualifiers.
All right. Well, you need to keep the momentum going.
I'm hanging in there, man.
Texoma, September.
It was tough on the last tournament. I wanted that damn eagle head that the ABAs give out. They have this. It's kind of like it's like an eagle on like a little. It's like you know what I'm
How
talking
big is
about?
it?
Not very big. Just a little eagle head. But I wanted an eagle head, so now I got to fish them again to try to win one to get an eagle head.
Oh, you probably get something more if you win at Chick.
Yeah, boat and like 50K and
an eagle head, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully a big eagle head.
Yeah, probably need to be a big eagle
what
on
else
that.
You got?
All right, good stuff. Man, I'm searching and searching and searching. I want to know if anybody out there listening heard what the heck is his name? DeChambeau.
Bryson DeChambeau.
He's a weird dude, man. The dude won the U.S. Open yesterday, golf. A lot of controversy, I guess, on whether or not he's on the vitamin S. He's gained a zillion pounds of muscle during the pandemic. Dude drinks 7 protein shakes a day, eats about a half a cow each day, and is really bulked up, but says some really, really bizarre stuff. And I'm looking for the sound clip of which he describes how he is going to approach, from a mental aspect, the final day of the U.S. Open. And in a nutshell, he says, and I'm not quoting exactly, that's why I'm going to continue to search for it. And if anybody knows where this sound clip is, it's after day 3. Please send me a link, mark@basson.com, and we will talk about it on the show. But one of the pieces of the clip, Matt, talks about how important the particles are in the air to his mental game. Particles in the air. I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
No.
Quite interesting, quite bizarre, and some of his off the course mannerisms and practices. Hey, it works, man. The dude won. I don't care if he's out there, chopping up toothpicks before his round. It doesn't matter. The dude got it done. He commanded a very large lead at one point of the final round, and he ends up winning the U.S. Open, and not one of the guys that are liked out on the tour.
Unique.
Does that really matter? Are you out there to be buds, or are you out there to take everybody's money?
It just depends. I mean, it's obvious that you're not out there to be buds and stuff that you do. I mean, you look over the past 20 years.
Well,
it's a combination, man.
He doesn't have a whole lot of friends out there.
I don't
And
know.
there's been a lot of people have been very critical about his game, and all of a sudden he puts on all this muscle. And there was more going on before that even took place.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I don't know if it's like a lack of self. I don't feel like I have a lack of self-esteem, but I like to know that people don't hate me when I walk up to a group. I mean, either I'm living under a rock and people are like, oh, here he comes.
Here's the other thing I want to ask you, and I was thinking about this yesterday. Every single individual event that I could think of yesterday, when it came to a U.S. Open of an individual event, every single one of those events are massively difficult. You agree with that? I look at tennis. The U.S. Open, it's on a hard court tennis. Yeah, but the whole surroundings, it is a very, very difficult event to win. Golf, did you see the rough? Did you see any of the highlights? Yeah. I mean, the U.S. Open typically will take right around even to win. Mm-hmm. I'm going to throw fishing out there. The U.S. Open out on Lake Mead, it's brutal.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if it's in September, July, October, whenever it is a brutally tough event to win.
And the classic is for that stand before 2006 when they moved it to early in the year. It was typically a summertime grind.
It was brutal.
The FLW Cup, the same way. I mean, you're talking middle of the summer. A lot of times in that Arkansas area. I mean, just really tough events. Not that it's not easy. I mean, you look at the wintertime classics we've had on Grand and all that stuff. I mean, that's still brutal, but the Three Rivers Cup.
Bowling, the U.S. Open,
Classic.
One of the toughest events in existence.
Yeah.
It's a flat pattern. Usually it takes right around even to make the cut. Here's the question I want to ask. Do you think that the fans appreciate an event that takes place that is tough? In other words, do they want to see the Swing Fest? And I'm going to throw this back to fishing. The Swing Fest that took place on the northern swing with all the smallmouth being caught and the massive quantities and big smallmouth. Now all of a sudden we're going to go to this grind, of which I think it is going to be a grind at Guntersville.
Yeah.
Is that going to intrigue people? Because number one, they haven't had an event on Lake Guntersville this time of the year for a long, long time. I have no idea what the last one was, a major event in the month of September. But is the interest, is the intrigue going to be there from a fan perspective on a grind? In other words, I think it's awesome because I think it's gonna solidify what these guys can do as professional anglers to solve the puzzle.
I think here's the thing that I think is going to get it. I think the unknown grind, because that was what was special about the...
And Santee Cooper,
Listen,
too.
that was what was special about the Three Rivers Classic was it was kind of an unknown on how it would play out. Yeah. That's what was special about the first time they went to the Sabine. It was kind of an unknown with all these different chances, but I think that loses some of its luster when it's like the fourth time they're there and everyone knows how it's going to go down. I think an unknown grind on a historically tough body of water in that time of the year draws a lot more attention than a grind that is like a expected grind.
Yeah. It's a great point. Great point. So I think the fans, you tell me, is there going to be intrigue next week with the Lake Guntersville stuff? I'm saying yes. I'm saying
absolutely.
There's going to be a massive amount of interest from a fan perspective on how these guys can solve the puzzle.
Here's the thing about a grind, too. You have a lot more memorable moments in a grind because whether it's the fish catch or the fish lost, a big fish has a massive implication in your standings on it.
That's a great point. Great point. All right, man. Great job this past weekend. Hopefully the momentum will continue at Texoma this weekend. Can you win money?
Oh,
Can you win money?
Yeah, actually, the payout for the Bass Nation's good now.
Okay.
It used to be
How
horrible.
many boats?
I have no idea. I don't know.
50?
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's been 50, 60 the last couple years.
All right. Very cool. All right, folks, we're going to take a break, come back with Mr. Steve Bowman. Everybody stay tuned on a Monday. We'll be right back.
The ultimate fishing system starts with Lowrance HDS Live. The best fish finding tools, from chirp sonar and fish reveal to side scan and down scan imaging, and complete touchscreen control from your trolling motor to your big motor.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
Kevin, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just filling in for Billy.
I need a 660 shad crankbaits in the Series 5 model.
We're out.
You're not out. You got all kinds of them right there.
We're out.
Kevin, I need 6.
Have a lollipop.
I do not want a lollipop.
Have a lollipop.
Do you have it in sexy shad color?
Let's face it, fishing electronics are no longer an afterthought. They've become a necessity. And at the Bass Tank, our experts match you with the right electronics, provide professional installation, and educate you to help maximize your catching results while providing support along the way. Because let's be honest, it's about catching, not just fishing. And when you're ready for better results, join the Bass Tank team. Visit us today on Facebook or go to thebasstank.com.
Hey everybody, Tide Faircloth here. Want to show you one of my favorite braided lines, SX1 30-pound Sunline braid. I use this braided line for a couple of different applications, and one of my favorites to use for this line is a swim jig. Casts great, and it's small diameter, and just works really great on a swim jig. Another technique I like to use for 30-pound SX1 Sunline braid is whenever I'm flipping like a light, say an 1/8 to a 1/4 ounce weight in grass, small diameter, I don't lose much action on my worm, just works great in those scenarios. So if you're looking for a braided line for a swim jig or fishing a light Texas rig, check out Sunline's SX1 30-pound braid.
AFCO's new Uri performance shirts are made out of a new fabric. Aeromesh technology, Aeromesh fabric, really breathable. You know, it just doesn't stick to you whenever you're sweating. It's 105 in Florida. You know, you got sun beating down, there's hardly any wind. You know, your shirt won't stick to your back or anything like that. Any little breeze gets through it, and all the AFCO features that you like with the hood, not without a hood, depending on which one you like. It's got odor technology, so your pits don't stink whenever you're sweating. It has thumb loops. So whenever you're driving down the lake, 70 miles an hour on a bass boat, you got the thumb through here, sleeves won't roll up, so you have no excuse if you get sunburned. Any little breath of air gets through you and cools you down, so make sure you check them out. Any fish, any water, any condition, AFCO has you covered.
All right, we are back on a Monday, and it is time for our special guest. And, I've known Steve for a long time, and I know early in my career being out there with the guys, Steve helped me a ton with a lot of
trust
situations.
Me, we're going to ask Mr. Bowman about some of the early Mark Jeffries memories that he has. Because I mean, I've kind of heard of some of them, but I'm sure that 2006, 2007 time frame, I'm sure Mr. Bowman might have a story or two.
He might. I don't know if we want to dive into
entertain us with about Mark Jeffries behind the weigh-in stage.
Yeah, well. Steve's been doing it a long time, been there since day one, but I thought it'd be a cool idea to pass along and talk a little bit about some of the items that are going up for auction for the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. And we're not going to go through obviously every single item, but we're going to showcase some of the items that Steve has. So let's bring Steve in now. Steve, you there, man?
I'm here.
All
Thanks
right,
for having
man.
me.
Yeah, thanks for taking time out. That is quite the backdrop you have there, Steve.
I did. My wife set this up. This is Hall of Fame Central here. So we wanted to make sure that we had some Larry Nixon and John Cruz over there, and Shaw Grigsby and Denny Brower, and a Denny Brower Wheaties box, and there's Brian Kirchhoff whistle, and all kinds of neat stuff that's all on that auction.
That's
By the
very
way, the
cool.
only reason I came on the show is to talk you two into donating a guest spot to the auction so we could auction that off.
So we could throw up if a fan wants to be a co-host, which we
Right.
can do that now.
Co-host for a day.
For a day,
Right.
we could throw that. Yeah, we'll do that.
In the
I'm
auction.
good with that.
All right.
So there you have it, fans.
It's going to be on. That'll be on the auction in the morning.
Okay.
So.
If you want to be a co-host on BTL, Steve will make sure that is posted.
And people can
on the
bid
auction.
on it.
They can bid on it.
Right.
I like that idea.
Wow.
That's
They're starting
cool
off.
stuff.
Explain real quick before we get started on this, what exactly it is, where the money for the auction actually goes, what just kind of get everybody up to speed on it.
Well, and that's actually the money goes to a lot of places. For starters, the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, which we can come back to that, but we're trying to build a showcase that just really showcases the legacy and history of all the great people that helped kick this sport off, and as it grows, the people who continue to be a part of it and make it what it is. But the other part of that is we've become, we're committed to the legacy, and I'm gonna have to read. I got a little deal here. I may not be able to find it now, but our whole purpose is, we want to celebrate, promote, and preserve the sport of bass fishing. So that's really an open-ended thing. So some of the things that we did last year is we're using some of the money that we've brought into our auction and our banquet in the past to benefit some habitat projects in other states. One in Indiana, one in Virginia. We want to continue that. There's really not a clearinghouse for just bass fishing for us, for those of us who love this little green fish, to provide opportunities for clubs and colleges and et cetera that are trying to enhance the world of fishing. So we're stepping into that void and kind of stepping into it into a big way, and our timing was perfect the year before COVID. So now we're doing our auction online instead of in the room with a lot of industry folks in there with us. So.
All right, I'm gonna juice this thing up a little bit. I just had an idea, Steve. What if, as I look at Matt, what if instead of just co-hosting, what if we can add in there that not only would you co-host BTL, but me personally, depending obviously where you live in the country and logistics and all that and everything, we'll actually fly you in to the BTL studios, and the next day you will go out on a fishing adventure with this man right here.
Man, I might
How about
take
that?
I think we change it. Instead of going out with me, I think it's a Carolina rig only trip with Mark Jeffries.
No,
where you only throw a Carolina rig at a Zara spook regardless of conditions and time of year.
No. So here's what we're going to do, all right? The winner will receive the opportunity, the option to actually come in to the BTL studio and spend a day on the water with Matt. How about that?
But after the BTL, can they go bowling with you?
Yeah. Yeah,
So you
we'll
go,
do that.
You come in, you co-host it, then you go bowling with Mark, and then fishing with me the next day.
Yeah.
And
How about that?
And you pay for him to come here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your donation.
That's my donation.
I like it. I mean, I know Jeffries is going to beat them down on in the bowling alley.
Yeah.
And I know Pangrak's going to beat them down on the Arkansas River or wherever you're going to take them.
I'm not taking him to the Arkansas River, Steve.
Place?
Not on the
Okay.
No. All right.
No.
So
You
go
just
ahead.
finished second there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my Arkansas River history, you can go back to that 2006. You remember that. You were there. You covered that tournament that Chip and I ended up having to fish out of the bay boat, and we had the striper guy, and we were fishing the crap pipe. The crap with a P, not a CK. Fishing the crap pipe out there. I've had a story to pass. So no, we'll go somewhere we could actually like catch some fish.
Right. That's a good deal. Fans
Fantastic.
bid on that one.
We'll have that on the auction and just a little bit and I can't wait to see the bids start rolling in.
Yeah, we'll see on that. All right. Yeah, to go fishing with him. All right.
We might just go crappie fishing. I'm not gonna
There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, as long as you go out and go catching instead of fishing.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, let's do this. Here, I'm going to queue up this little screen. All right.
There you go.
And I can kind of, if they want to get to this link, all right, on the web, what's the best way for them to find the auction page?
The best way is to actually go to the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame website, which is Bass Fishing HOF, and there is a auction button on the front and a browse items button once they get there. Oh, and if you're on your phone, and then it just kind of pops right up to that, and scroll down a little bit because you got rods and stuff,
clothing,
rods and things. But there's a Jason Christie
jersey.
I should bid on that.
A Bob Cobb book, and
that's cool.
Enigma's giving us some things. Brian Kirchhoff has one of Brian Kirchhoff's signed whistles, and he's one of our inductees this year. And there's a signed Wheaties box from Denny Brown
and David Walker.
Yeah, and David Walker and Clark Wendlandt on.
You could get all three of them.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
that would be cool.
If you keep, those are some of the early items you keep going. There's a Brian Latimer trip, a Greg Hackney coaching experience.
What is that?
In this day of COVID, a lot of us are having difficult times wanting to fulfill trips like Van Dam and Hackney, Rick Klun, et cetera, because everything's been pushed a year. So basically what you're going to get with Hackney, Van Dam, and Klun, there's three of them on here, is you'll have them for an hour for 3 nights in a row, or whatever y'all. Basically, you get Greg Hackney or Van Dam or Klun for 3 hours.
Wow!
On the phone.
This is
for
cool.
As many nights as it takes. So you're getting ready for a derby, going to your college national championship, or going to a regional, or going to an opener. You just want to learn how to fish a specific tactic. You get an opportunity to call him before you go, call him while you're there, and then call him right before the derby starts or after it's over, and just basically have a coach.
That's a great idea.
That is pretty cool.
It says here, for 3 nights, you will have a direct line to Greg Hackney, either by phone, Skype, or Zoom. This once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to pick the brain of the sport's most critically thinking mind can be yours. Bid on it, and remember, fishing is mental, catching them is physical. Timing of contact subject to Hackney's schedule. Call him at 10 o'clock for a Zoom the night before he's leading a tournament, leading an open going into the final day.
Yeah.
Right. And, there's a steelhead trip there with Jay Ellis, which he's one of our inductees. We've got some helixes and a jack play. I mean, there's a lot of neat stuff on here.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of neat stuff. Of course, we got to have our guns. And then, there's 3 pages of that. So, and it's continually growing. We're putting more and more on there as we move along. There's the KVD coaching experience right next to the Brandon Powlin or Seth Fighter trip. So, or is that Seth Fighter jersey?
Chris and Corey Johnson
I was
fishing
looking
trips,
at that.
Polinick fishing trips. We're not going to get any bids, Mark.
Everybody's spending their money on it.
Yes, you will. I will bid on it. I promise.
Okay. Here's what I would, Mark. I think you, since we have the new deal there, I would love to see the Walker, Denny Brower, and was it Wenlet? I want to see all three of those Wheatie boxes.
That would be
that
cool.
not be a cool collection to have?
Yeah.
It is a very cool collection, and you know, the Winlet boxes were actually Kellogg's boxes. There they are, right there on the cornflakes and
mini wheats.
Mini wheats. There you go. One of a kind stuff. Not everything is on there yet. I was showing. I've got a birdhouse that will go on there that I think is really neat. And I mean, there's something for everybody. If you'll notice, there's a youth fishing package there, right there to the far right. There's a Zona package there and with a hoodie and more Brandon Palaniuk and a Shaw Grigsby jersey. You know, and Grigsby was inducted a year or two ago, and there's all kinds of you know, the industry really kind of supports everything that we do, and in the years past we've had this banquet at the Wonders of Wildlife, and it's really been one of those nights. It's probably one of the most laid back, fun nights of the season for the industry, because you know you walk in there and there's a table sitting on one side of the room is Chase Anderson and Bruce Aiken, and on the other side of the room is Jim Wilburn, and then in the middle is Kathy Fennell and Johnny Morris and Gary Klaus. I mean, you know, these folks that really don't spend a lot of time visiting with each other on a personal level, but for that one night, everything is put aside, and the focus is on the legacy and preserving our legacy as bass fishermen for that room. And so we really hate that we're not having a banquet this year. We'll have one next year, obviously, but we've elected to not only have the auction, but to key in the whole world to, hey, this is a cool event, and it's a cool Hall of Fame. If you've not been to Wonders of Wildlife, Jeffrey Pangrack,
I'm a year-long member. I paid whatever it cost to be able to walk in there and just stand there. I'll just go there by myself sometimes. It's only a 2.5 hour drive. You just stand there, it just like centers you. If I feel like I'm Rick Clunn and Randy Blockett all mixed into one when you're in that aquarium.
There you go. I'm going to send you tickets as soon as we get off here. I'm going to have my wife send you guys 3 or 4 tickets, and y'all should make a trip over there. You should call them and see if you could do your show from there.
That would be cool.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you can make that happen.
It's an incredible experience.
Can't you, Steve? Steve,
can
you
I
can
make that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me call Johnny on the phone here soon.
Plus upstairs. So here's the deal. Let's say you bass fish, your family's not that into it, but so here's what I've done in the past: is gone there. You walk through the aquarium. You can spend 3 hours in it easily. 3 to 4 hours.
You can spend 3 days.
You know, yeah, but okay, yes. Minimum 3 hours, maximum a full day. But upstairs is the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, and you walk into it. It's got all the plaques there. It's got everything. I've read every single word that's in there. I don't know. You probably had a lot to do with what was in there, Steve, and how it was set up and stuff. It is absolutely unreal to walk in there and see all the plaques and the history, the original weigh scales, all of the different things and little things and Bassmaster Classic boats and the history in there. It is a must do if you are within 3 hours of there to drive and go through just the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame part, not to mention the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame part that's in there, and then the aquarium. But anyway, so I always end up in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame by myself for a couple hours while the people I'm with go look at a live fish.
Yeah.
Well, part of our our mission and emphasis is to really jazz up that experience. What you will see, and I agree. I think what we have now is pretty special, and it's kind of neat, and it's really cool to walk through if you're any kind of bass fishing fan to walk through. But truthfully, at the end of the day, it's very lacking, and it needs to be able to intrigue a 10-year-old who maybe just has a little bit of interest, or compel a young parent to want to go see and to spend time in there. So we've got a lot of work to do within that hall, a lot of work, and that's really what some of this auction is about, is for us to be able to do some of those things, but at the same time fund some of these habitat projects around the country. But really enhancing the Hall of Fame to we'll never be at a Cooperstown level, but we can come close. And there's a lot of great stories to tell about our sport, whether it's with James Hedden, who is part of this year's class, or with Forrest Wood, or Jerry McInnes, Ray Scott, Johnny Morris. Those folks have incredible stories that have really changed the way we do everything that we do, the things that you do when you sit in front of your computer screen and have your show, for example. But there's some really interesting and great stories that need to be told and understood. So,
all right, a couple of people want to know, the cereal boxes, are they unopened?
We have the one behind me is unopened. It's full of Wheaties.
Okay.
We have I think another one of those. The David Walker is unopened. I think some of the Clark Wendlandt stuff is just basically the flat that you fold, and and there is no cereal inside. But I'm not sure 100% about that. I mean,
Okay.
things come in the mail, and I look at it, and I mean, I'm told not to eat it. So.
Wait a second. So let's say you have a flipping tournament coming up.
Yeah.
You could be eating a bowl of Denny Brower Wheaties while you are Skyping with Greg Hackney the night before your tournament. That's a guaranteed win.
And if you add to that, if you look through there is a circa 1993 Denny Brower flipping rod, Team Daiwa flipping rod and reel, all new, never been used, that you can buy and be assured with the whole TDHI or TDH1 with the I've already messed up all that, but
there it is, right there.
Yeah.
Right here.
So
vintage.
Kurt Arakawa with Daiwa is on our board, and he came to the JM Studios with some of the old Team Daiwa stuff, which I was really familiar with back in. Everybody was familiar with the Team Daiwa stuff back in the early '90s, and he left that with me, and he gave me the choice that you can have this if you want, or do whatever you want. So Billy, I put it on the auction, and every time I see it on there, I cringe, because I'm like, man, I could have kept that stuff.
Hey, my first reel I bought at the Team Daiwa would have been the mid '90s, late '90s. I sold earthworms, went to Mike's Tackle World, and paid in earthworm money to get my Team Daiwa. Then I also bought the Team Daiwa hat with it.
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah, earthworms. I go out at night with the red light and pluck them and then sell them.
I love that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's good
I had
stuff.
to mow grass there, Pang Rack. So
he's catching worms.
Yeah, it was big deal. It was like $199 when it came out. It was
How many worms did you get?
Unheard of back then.
It was a bunch. So at church, a lot of people had, pet turtles and stuff like that. So I had a little pet.
You were a worm dealer.
I was. I had a pet. Here, I'll tell you exactly how I paid for it. I paid for it worms, and I wove hemp necklaces. I would sell hemp necklaces and night crawlers to buy that Team Daiwa. And the first one that I bought with it, I bought a Larry Nixon. Remember they had that deal with Abu where it was like the tournament series, and if you registered your rod and reel with the Larry Nixon combo, you could win $1,000 if it was a sanctioned tournament. Big round reel. That and the Team Daiwa were my first two bait casters.
Well, there's the Larry Nixon Team Daiwa on the auction as well. That's circa 1993, 94, somewhere in there. Very, very, very incredible, and still incredible equipment. A lot of it still in use.
Mark, you're looking at me incredible. Not all of us were child actors that were just
very funny.
getting mailbox money when we were younger. Some of us had to actually get our hands dirty. We didn't just stand there and look pretty and make money.
I mean, you just answered a lot of questions for me. You know, your Earth Child persona just now came into clarity.
Earth Child.
Yeah, the hemp and the worms.
Yeah,
you know,
cicadas.
I mean,
He did all this stuff with cicadas when he was a kid. Yeah, that's why at one time he was called the Nature Boy. All right, Steve, I want to ask you this: how much of a challenge has it been for the Hall of Fame, though, prior to actually having this location? In other words, this location that exists in Springfield now has got to solidify all the hard work that went into actually getting a location established for the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, it really did. It really gave us the opportunity to be having this conversation for one, but you know, having this auction and so forth to benefit habitat work. I can remember my early days of being on the hall, where we would have to pass around the plate during meetings and take personal donations just to keep the lights on, more or less. And you know, when Johnny Morris, you know, we had there's always been a lot of passion around the Hall of Fame. There always will be. But sometimes we tried to do things we shouldn't do or couldn't do, and that was certainly the case early on. And Johnny Morris building the Wonders of Wildlife and giving us an opportunity to be a part of that was a huge deal for us, and it remains a huge deal. So now we've been able to focus on building a hall that has a physical home and building a legacy of our own with these habitat projects and things like that. So it's just so important. And I really, Mark, if you haven't been, I'm telling you, tickets are on the way. You have to go.
I'm going. Okay. I mean, it's a done deal. I'm gonna take time out, be it during fall break or whenever I can get up there. Definitely,
and don't
definitely
go up there in a hurry, dude. Go up there. Like Panger said, you can be there for 3 hours, and you know the thing that Tommy, I work with Tommy Sanders every day, and one of his favorite sayings is just leave them wanting more. And the Wonders of Wildlife does that, because you can't leave there and say, man, I wish I would have spent, I wish I would have more. And we want to get to that point with our Hall of Fame and inside that as well, Bass Fishing Hall of Fame.
All right. Very cool. So, folks, the auction extends all the way through Friday, correct?
Friday at 2. It kicks off in the morning, but I'm not going to say anything if anybody gets on there today. We're kind of giving a sneak peek to our sponsors and our benefactors, and that. I mean, it'll be open to bid this afternoon for them and for all the BTL viewers. But outside of that, nobody else can get in until tomorrow morning. So
very nice. All right, Steve, obviously the history that you have with the professional game, the history on the Elite Series, even prior to that, what is something that sticks out from a memory standpoint of all the time that you have spent on the water, which has been a bunch since the inception of the Elite Series? I can remember being on the water and trying to get that perfect position without impairing or getting in the way of anything that's taking place on the water. You got to have some memories that are good memories from the time that you have spent on the water covering these guys. What's one of them?
I've got a lot of incredible memories, and you know, it's hard to center on just one. I mean, one of my favorite memories that every time I see Poche and Pangrak is remembering the old guy with his daughter not letting them come in on the, as you said, the crack pipe. I had a lot of fun with the college stuff in in the early days. But from the elite standpoint, you know, they just keep getting better. Watching, you know, that Grand Lake Tournament Classic with Edwin Evers will always be there, sitting there watching him put that together. And, you know, things like that, being able to just watch it and be, you know, on the front row seat to seeing that kind of history being made, being with, there's a lot of heartbreak in there, being with Jason Christie at Hartwell and like screaming, you know, silently screaming, pick up a damn shaky head, catch one. You know, he needed one more, and that's all he would have done. You know, but that, you know, and really, you know, I mean, it's some of the other things that I'm just trying to think of. All the there's so many moments every season. There's moments, and they're full of just great times. There's some heartbreaks in there. I was just at Sam Rayburn the other day, and it wasn't the elite, but watching Josh Douglas lose one that probably would have won him that Open. And not that I'm, you know, was against, I can't even pronounce his name, but, you know, when you're out there watching a guy, you want to see him do well.
Yeah.
So, well, seeing all the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat in so many different ways has been, it's been cool. I mean, that's the whole reason that I do what I do, is because, you know, I did that for so many years with the newspaper, and I would go into the newspaper office and people not understand what practice for fishing meant, or what, you know, wanted to know, well, do you drink beer while you're out there? You know, these guys drink Jack and Coke, you know, and the misunderstandings of just professional angling. And, you know, I was like, no, I'm going to change your whole mind on this thing, and getting that opportunity some with ESPN and some other opportunities. Just, hey, we want to show these heartbreaks. And I can remember when Mark Davis won the Classic, you know, and of course he's from Arkansas and covering. You know, a lot of people don't remember, or don't. It's not even part of the show. It's not even part of the collective memory of that. But late in the day, on day 3, you know, he hooks up with his fat-free shad in a brush pile, and he's actually got 2 bass on, and he's getting close. They're getting close to the boat, and he's got a 4-pounder and a 2-pounder. And the only thing that he can do is boat flip them, and he boat flips them, and the 2-pounder flops off and goes in the water, and the 4-pounder flops off and goes in the boat, and he wins the Classic. Those kind of moments, you know, we've all seen Jim Bitters losing the fish on the side of the boat, and we were just so fortunate to have a camera there. That happens all the time. These incredible catches and these incredible losses, and I just think that, you know, we need to fight harder to show those, and so people can get the passion behind what we do. So my whole purpose is that in some ways, and to try to catch a fish on the Arkansas River.
Ask him.
It's cool with the, you know, we talk a lot about technology now, but with the GoPros a lot in every boat, and I know pretty much all the Elite Series guys run it. It was a rule, I think, on FLW for a couple years. You have to run it. It's cool now that I think you're actually be able to, because it's such a hard sport to actually get the moment, right? You have the stories and you could hear it, but I mean, when you've got 8 hours of competition over 4 days, you're fishing 32 hours with a playing field that's hundreds of miles long and 85 to over 100 guys doing it. I mean, it's just impossible to be in the right place at the right time with all the cameras. But now you're seeing with all of the with what Brandon's doing and Scott Martin and Shryock and all those guys, you're actually seeing a lot more of those moments, which is actually adding to the history of the sport, even though, it's just on YouTube and you're not looking at it, but you're getting a bigger picture of how, like, I know I'm working on my video coming out for Sam Rayburn, but I've watched 5 or 6 other guys and their stuff, and I'm getting just a much better understanding of how that event went down just by watching those guys. I mean, that was not available 4 or 5 years ago even.
Oh, but you got to understand that back in the day, you got a newspaper story maybe the day after, but really the details didn't come out to anywhere from 30 to 60 to days to 3 months or longer. And then you didn't even think about seeing video of it for, sometimes almost a year. And, so now it's a lot more immediate. And like you said, the technology is there. I mean, we got technology that allows us to have an auction online and raise money for this stuff. I just hope that at some point in time we don't lose the actual skill levels that I know Panger has that just make you a fisherman, not just a great electronics guy, the guy with that ties hemp and digs earthworms can still fish.
He's a worm dealer.
Yeah,
he's a worm dealer. Yeah. All right, Steve, as this sport continues to evolve, as we are right where we're at today from a media standpoint, what do you think is more important, or is there equal value? Live coverage or television coverage? What are your thoughts?
I think live coverage is. Television coverage doesn't. Television coverage, there's only really, and maybe I'm a little biased, but there's only one television coverage that matters. And, if you're not on, Saturday mornings and throughout the day, like a golf tournament on a major network, then it's ESPN. And outside of that, then it has to be pretty much your website. But being able for, so much of what the live coverage has done is shown people that, holy cow, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of emotion in this sport. There's a ton of physical agility, physical skill, emotional turmoil. There's a lot of, it shows it happening. One of the things that Chase was wanting to send us a hat a couple of tournaments ago, and then wondering why we didn't still have our hats. And I was like, the only thing that's lost more than a hat at a tournament is a 5-pounder. Everybody's got a lost 5-pounder. And so what the live has done is it's either shown you that those 5-pounders that are being lost or do exist, or there's a lot of hope for 5-pounders that were maybe just 2.5, 3 pounds that got off the hook. But it gives us an opportunity to see the real thing and see it all as it happens. And if you watch Palaniuk on Champlain, to see that and watched Bill Weidler at St. Clair and Chris Johnston on St. Lawrence. Those are incredible things to watch. But the truth of the matter is it's somebody who has been out on the water, and which Panger can tell you, and Jeffries you can attribute to as well. That's every tournament. That drama that is taking place that we're able to capture in a live camera and show it on ESPN and put it together in a way that makes everybody stop and go, oh my gosh, that's not unusual. It's every event practically where that kind of drama is taking place, where you have the best angling skills on the water and in front of a camera, and they're battling out, and it comes down to the wire, and it's scary to watch. Every event it's like watching, a Hail Mary pass or a 65 footer on the 18th green or whatever that is. There's eventually I think the rest of the world will see the drama and excitement and the thrill of victory and agony defeat of bass fishing like they do other sports.
Is it decided, or are things still kind of up in the air on whether or not the remaining events will air live on ESPN2?
That's a tournament by tournament basis. Football getting kicked back in is going to make it difficult. But I see us getting more time on ESPN2 throughout the season and into next season. But you well know, in our world, football is the king, and NFL and college football is actually, there was a time when they didn't expect it to be played, and it's actually going on. So yeah, it's we got to compete with football, but what a way to compete, because when we do get on, we will have the eyeballs once again. So
yeah. All right, great stuff. Steve, I don't know if I've ever asked you that, and you can do the Cliff Note version of it. How did you get into this game? I mean, I know you're a newspaper guy, but how did you get into this?
Well, I went to work I really got a great story about how I actually got into it, but it involves James Overstreet back in our younger, our Pangrac age days. But I went to work for the Democrat Gazette as the Arkansas Democrat. I went to work as a layout and design artist to make the sports section look better. Went to work for the sports department. Didn't have to be at work till 4 p.m. and I worked from 4 to midnight, and which was not unusual for me. And Overstreet worked for the Arkansas Gazette, and he would get off work at 8 o'clock in the morning, so we'd go fish and or hunt or whatever. And then I would fish for 3 or 4 hours, and I'd come in with blood on my fingers or feathers in my hair or whatever that was, and then do my shift. And so we did this for 2 or 3 months, and the editor asked me if I would like to help out with doing a sports an outdoor column. And I obviously, heck yeah, I was a big Patrick McManus fan at the time, and wanted to try that. So I did that, and then a month, 2 months later, they fired the guy that was in charge for him being a doofus, and gave me an opportunity to fill his shoes until they could find somebody else to do it. And I did it for, close to 15 years, and loved it. I mean, I got to hunt and fish for a living, and I took it seriously. We were in the middle of a newspaper war, the Arkansas Democrat versus the Arkansas Gazette, and the Democrat, the team that I was on, we won. I'd like to say we won because of my superior strategic newspaper knowledge, but I had very little to do with that. But I just became the outdoor editor, and like I said, I took it very serious, and we went and we would cover. There would be times at the Classic where I watched our newspaper office cover the college football or basketball, and this was during the time when Razorbacks were winning national championships in basketball and so forth, and was able to see a front row seat and how those events got covered. And I was like, you know what, bass fishing, the Bassmaster Classic deserves this kind of coverage. And they wouldn't send anybody with me, so I did it all myself. There was one year we had 9 Arkansans in the Bassmaster Classic, and every day I did a feature on every one of them, plus a game story, plus a notes package, plus sending in photos and all the other stuff. Bass actually set me up my own phone line in the weigh-in arena. I was the only outdoor writer in the country who had his own phone line and at the Classic weigh-ins for several years. Had my own dedicated line to fax my stories into. Mike Suchan, Such.
Yeah.
So.
Did that make Tucker mad? Tim Tucker? Was he upset about that?
No. Tucker and I were buds. And,
okay.
And, me and Craig Lamb, very young Craig Lamb and a very young me would sit at a table and man, it was just work, and we would work, and we worked fast, and I worked hard, and the whole deal is that, I wanted, back in those days, I wanted Stephen Browning and Mike McClellan and Scott Rook and David Ashcraft and Mike Worm and Ron Sheffield and, Larry Nixon and George Cochran and all those, Mark Davis, all those guys to get the just due they deserved when they were doing well. And so we would have, on Sundays, we'd have 2 full newspaper pages of nothing but classic. And then, the Saturday before would be, a full page, and then the Friday and the Thursday and would be a full page of coverage of that. And we're talking about one of the, top newspapers in the country.
Yeah.
And so you don't see that kind of coverage anymore. And so when ESPN wanted to do some things with Bassmaster and the outdoors, and they asked me if I would be interested in it, and I ran like the scared girl I was straight to them. So because I could see the writing on the wall. Newspapers.
How much? So you're covering all this stuff, and I'm looking it up to make sure I got it right. But I mean, you had a Mark Davis Classic win in the mid '90s. You had a George Cochran Classic win in the mid '90s. Was Larry Nixon thrown in there too while you were at the newspaper, where he won the Classic as well? No, but I mean,
I was in college.
Okay, that was before that. But I mean, right there in the heart of it, you had 2 Arkansas guys win the Classic, and then you throw in the Mark Davis Classic and the Angler of the Year in the same year back in '95, right. and it was Cochran's second Classic. So do you think that kind of helped jumpstart it and everything, that you had 2 guys right there in your backyard that won the pinnacle event?
Well, I mean, somewhat, but let me just add to that. If you look at the back then, the Red Man All-American,
Stephen Browning won it.
Red Man, you got Joe Yates, Grayson Tobler, Browning. I'm going to forget some. I mean, but we so many Arkansas winners there. I mean, at that time, professional angling in the state was huge, and it always has been. I mean, the home of Ranger Boats, Pradco, Norman, Champion, Basscat, Monarch, all the Duracraft, all the there's so much fishing history and chops in this state that it just runs through everyone's blood, and it's just part of who we are. It's our identity. So it wasn't a problem. It was just a matter of who's going to do the work, and when you don't have you don't mind doing the work, and then you get things done. And Mark Jeffries is one of those. That's one thing that I always was impressed with Mark, is that he didn't mind doing the work, and you got to. I mean, there's no, hey, I got a great idea, why don't you go do this? If you get a great idea, most of the time you got to do it yourself, and you got to work at it. And it's the same way that anglers do it. So.
All right. Well, you mentioned it, so I gotta say it. I need a good Jeffrey story. Do you remember the first time you saw this guy behind stage? I mean, I know you've got to have some good Jeffrey stories from back there covering.
I thought he might be the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, White Bird. I could tell that he was a basketball fan, and so. But the thing with Jeffries is he always had a lot of passion, and he worked hard. And we didn't really have enough time. We didn't have a lot of time to jack around. But he would work hard, and he would get passionate, and there was the only time that there would be times when I'd be like, oh man, I got to go talk to Jeffries. He just bit the head off of Rob Brusso and for getting in his way or something. I'm like, Jeffries, come on, man, we're all in this together. But I mean, he was to and fro, and I mean, to be honest with you, I wanted Mark on my team. I actually offered him a job. Did not realize that he was so ingrained in Oklahoma and would never take it. But you remember that, Mark?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought we would be an unstoppable team, but you did great, and I had to take Overstreet. So.
Did you guys ever have like staff meetings on how to deal with Jeffries behind the?
No.
I know at one point there was, who was it? What's his name? The PR dude, Doug
Grassi.
Doug Grassi. And at one point in time, this is no joke, folks.
No, let's back up. I was not part of the Bass organization in Doug Grassian's day. So anyway, I was doing ESPN Outdoors and had the contract to handle Bassmaster. This was before Jerry bought Bass.
Right.
Yeah.
So who? Yeah.
So they may have had one. I'm sure they did. But I'm just going to tell you, I'm taking up for Mark the whole way.
Okay.
Because if they had one for him, they might have had one for me, because my reputation is not all that glowing either. But dadgum, when when you got two bulldozers out there and they're ready to get some work done, you don't put roadblocks in the way.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. And Jeffries was one of those bulldozers. I mean, let's get it done, baby. We ain't got time for this mess. We ain't got time for politics.
Harold didn't put up with crap either.
Yeah.
Who?
Harold. The
Harold
legend.
Sharp?
Harold Allen.
Oh,
When Harold was out there.
Yeah, you're right. The legend.
He'd do whatever he wanted except interview Gary Klein.
Yeah, he wanted nothing to do with Gary.
I would always have to interview Gary Klein. One time he got into the Jack. I was like, what is it with you and Klein? It goes back to some newspaper article from a classic in the 1980s or something that Klein said he got help from someone that he didn't get help from, and Klein had actually gotten it anyway. He held the grudge for like 30 years.
Long time.
I might have written that story.
Really? Did you?
No, I'm joking.
Anyway,
I'm joking.
Point of it was, at one point in time, in the media event, there was a strip of duct tape, and Jeffries was not allowed to go past the strip of duct tape on one side, and another independent outdoor writer was not allowed to go past the strip of duct tape on the other side, or else they both would have gotten their credentials yanked. That's what, just saying, to put that in context, that's the type of bulldozer, bulldog passion that we're talking about there.
Yeah. Well, you got to have that. I mean, look at us now. I mean,
Is that not true?
No, it is true. But Steve, I will say this. Those were some very, very fun times. I mean, we were kind of on the cutting edge of the way that the game was going to get covered, and the evolution of how things took place, and the more information that eventually kept, growing and growing. I got to tell you, one of the coolest things was getting that nut shot when you're on the water. You get that perfect shot of the fish jumping. You're out there, you got your camera guy with you, and that's it. What do you want to do? When you get back to the media trailer, all you want to do is show people that shot. Man, look at this. Look at this. And capturing some of those moments. One of my best memories was being the only guy around Steve Kennedy on Clear Lake when he had that incredible day.
Yeah.
And I was the only guy around there, and it was just it was mesmerizing and just so memorable to get back to that media trailer and go, guys, look what I got. Look what I got. Look at this. And to build the relationships with the anglers over the time. And I know you've got to have just some incredible friendships over the amount of years that you've spent in this business. Those friendships are going to last a lifetime. So many memories. And those early days of covering the Elite Series were very, very hard. There were a lot of late nights, but the memories and the friendships and the way that we went after capturing what we were trying to do to tell the story of what these guys were doing on the water was priceless.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's all the fun of it. I mean, and I don't think a lot of people, maybe even Panger, but Mark Jeffries is a pretty fine photographer. You know, he was shooting these guys out on the water. I don't know, maybe before O Street. So,
yeah,
you know, we had to get out there and we had to do what we had to do, and it was a lot of fun. Like you said, lots and lots of fun. And I've been doing it since, you know, the mid late '80s, and you know, and I still have that attitude at times. You know, a couple of years ago we had a little shakeup, and as you well know, I'm just like, guys, I was here before any of y'all started, and I'll be here when you're gone. And dadgum, I didn't know it was going to come true.
Yeah.
You know, but really and truly, like to this right now, as far as the Elite Series, I've seen every angler come into this sport except for Rick Clunn, and every other one I saw him come through the ranks and get there, and I got to see Clunn win 2 classics and several events, and you know, so. But I mean, part of it is you know what we're doing, what you're doing, Jeffries and Matt. This will last longer than you think, and somebody told me that a long time ago, and I didn't believe them. But I mean, they're right. I mean, we got to have these things. We got to have this show. We got to have this Hall of Fame. We got to have these websites. We got to have these newspapers and these magazines and everything. Because if not, then you know, we're just memories, and that's not any fun. The memories are the ones you know, you want more than that. You want something tangible.
Yeah.
These guys right here, this is all tangible.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame back here.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, you want to raise some money, you need to put a little box up there with a spend a day with James Overstreet. That's what
I
you
did
need
that
to do.
last year.
Did you
I
really?
auctioned that off last year. I might just talk him back into it, but
yeah,
you know, he's I'm waiting. I might give him a year off. I don't know. COVID. I don't want to be around that grouchy sucker during COVID. No, neither does anybody else. So.
Wow. All right, man. So auction will start tomorrow officially.
Here's what you need to do. You need to auction off a James Overstreet voicemail. James Overstreet will do your voice. Man, I ain't here right now. You leave a message. I'll call you back when I'm out of the tree stand or off the water.
Great idea, Banger.
Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
You know, I got. You talk about the other water stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, I still laugh about this. So we're covering one of the dudes. Me and Harold are out there, and Overstreet's the only other boat. And I got to make sure I get this right. So the camera boat went to another to drop the camera guy off, right? And Overstreet's in this boat too. And the angler key is still fishing. He's still fishing. And when he drops the guy off, the camera boats come together, and the angler didn't want the camera boat guy to keep him from fishing. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Hackney or something like that. Anyway, Overstreet's in the boat, and their boats bang against each other, and it scratches the guy's boat, the guy that you're paying whatever, $100 a day to follow him around and be the camera boat guy. And the guy's really pissed at the angler. And he comes over and he's talking to me and Harold, and Overstreet's in the back of his boat, and he's like, I ought to go over there and kick his ass. And this is what the camera boat driver's saying. And he's like, I wish I had a paddle. I would just go over there and slap him with that paddle. And without him missing a beat, Overstreet goes, man, I don't got no paddle, but I got this damn monopod. And he handed it to the guy. And the guy said no. We get back to the stage, and Overstreet was like, I was kind of hoping that would go down. That'd have been a hell of a photo set.
Wow.
Yeah, that's Overstreet's been he's a lot of fun, and he always has been. We've known each other forever, and you get him to tell you some of his MP stories from being in the Air Force when he was in military police, and then, but yeah, one of these days, I'm not. Maybe what I ought to do is auction off a personal 3-beer storytelling time with Overstreet. And,
Oh my gosh.
You know,
that would be good. That
get
would
3 or
be good
4
stuff.
beers, and he and I could start telling telling on each other. But he's been a force in my life. Back in the day, we were both big Patrick McManus fans. We hunted and fished together, and before any of this came along, and you know, he really kind of helped. He kind of helped keep me on the straight and narrow, and vice versa. And so he's been a good friend, and you know, love having him around. Wouldn't do it without him. So
very nice. All right, Steve. Finally, let's kind of review. If they want to bid on any of the items this year, it's going to start tomorrow. BTL fans can go out there today.
All right.
Where do they go, and how long is this bidding going to last?
The bidding will last till Friday at about 2:00. I'm going to say, you know, the easiest way to do that is to go to Bass Fishing HOF Hall of Fame, bassfishinghof.com, and click through that way. It'll say there'll be an annual auction. I think it's off to the right hand side of the page, and then a little blue button on the bottom of that says auction. And you know, you go in there and you register, and if you start bidding, you know, it'll take your information, and if you get outbid, it'll send you a text. It's really a cool process. And then, you know, if you're from pretty much North America, it's game on.
Yep, it is. It's annual online auction. If you're on a PC, you click on that, then it takes you to another page that says Celebrate Bass Fishing. Down in the middle, it just says click here to go to auction page. Then boom, it pulls up, and there's all 3 pages.
Click on that. I'm showing them right now.
And be generous. Auction. Be generous with your auction. The money is being used for a good, you know, good reasons. We have very little money that is used for administrative purposes. Most everything else there is thrown. Everything that we raise is thrown either back into fishing or back into the hall itself. And you know, really, you know, the more I'd like more people to get involved with going to the Hall of Fame and watching it, and seeing it, you know, as it progresses year to year to year, and you know, really, you know, help us. You got ideas, you got help, you know, because you know, we don't know everything and we don't know everybody, but we try to. But there's, you know, I'm looking for that guy that can create that video game type presence within there, so I can keep that 7-year-old intrigued while his 10-year-old brother is focusing on, you know, the finer attributes of Rick Clunn or Shaw Grigsby, so Denny Breyer, that kind of thing. So.
All right. Well, there you have it. Steve, man, can't thank you enough for taking time out. I know you're super busy, but I think giving the fans some insight on the Hall of Fame and this auction will be very beneficial to the fans, and hopefully we have a good response on people participating in the option.
I can't thank you enough, Mark, and for even thinking of me and allowing me to do it. I mean, it's very special, and I listen to you guys from time to time. I don't get a chance to listen to you all the time, but I get your links and listen to them sometimes when I'm driving down the road and so forth. Panger, I always like seeing you out on the opens. I can't believe you're not at Hartwell.
Yeah, I fish one division. It's that $1,800. I mean, I have a private pie. You know, you think Mark's paying me a lot of money to do this? You know Mark better than I do.
Yeah, I mean, but you're worth it.
I'm taking care of
next
him,
year.
Steve.
So no, I've had a great time fishing the first 2 this year, and Neely Henry's coming up next month. But depending on what happens, and schedule format, who knows? But I want to fish all those suckers next year. So
yeah, good. Well, I'm gonna tell you, Mark, one of the highlights of my career, that, you know, personal, is being on the front edge and actually starting that me and two other guys starting the college thing at the behest of Jerry McInnes, and it was actually called the College Smash Mouth Banger.
It was. I got that
Smash
wrong.
Mouth. But meeting guys like Pang Rack and Rob Russo and Chip Poche, and I mean the list is long. I mean I still keep in touch with them. Even Hank Weldon, you know, that came through that system, and you know, it's not like college bass wasn't going to eventually catch fire, but somebody had to strike the match, and you know, did that with JM, and then, you know, it was, man, there's parts of me that I wish I was still doing that, because
it was cool.
It really, I'm sure it still is. I'm just not
it's
around
big.
It,
it's huge. I mean, that first year you had what, 6 or 7 boats in the national championship. Then it moved. The year I fished it, it was like 37. But I remember, so I was with the University of Oklahoma. I missed a hockey weekend to compete in it. We were in second place going into the final day. They zeroed the weights, and I just remember coming back from that. We were leaving super early in the morning for a road trip, and on ESPNU. It was the college bass national championship, and we were all in the locker room with the TV on, and the kids on the hockey team were like, "Dude, that's you on ESPNU in OU stuff, fishing with commentating and stuff." And it like just had a lasting impact on me, and like just kind of validated everything. And that is just a really cool moment. That kind of sticks in my mind, and that's, I mean, all your guys' kind of brainchild to bring all that together. Have Zona and Sanders in that, and Scott Rook on the water for it, and then you see it exploded. And I was just talking to Hank, who's talking about, holy cow, we had 350 teams sign up for it, and we have a 200 boat max, and I mean, it's just it's amazing. And then you look at what Jordan Lee did in his Bassmaster Classic, bringing the college angler. I mean, you remember like Andrew Upshaw, and you had a bunch of these college anglers. You're like, oh, there's a college kid in the Classic. What's up with this? And now it's like, I mean, a staple to have the college angler in the Classic. And you look what those collegiate anglers, I mean, Matt Lee's one, Jordan Lee, like I said, you saw what Andrew Upshaw has done. A lot of those guys with that one spot have parlayed that into an incredible career. You know, you have Clint Davis with Montevallo State, and Brandon Card, and I mean, the list just goes on and on. And I mean, it's relatively new. It all started there in those kind of early 2000s, and that was kind of your deal.
It's fun to watch. It's pretty amazing to see. It's kind of like, you know, watching a child or a grandchild or something like that. But it's really, really cool. But it really is cool to see you. And I had no idea you were a hockey player.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
There's another one for I'll keep my mouth shut about hockey until after the Stanley Cup, and then we'll talk hockey.
Move on down the road. Yeah. All right, Steve, man. Best of luck to you. Stay safe, and it was good talking to you again.
All right, Mark. We're gonna send you we're gonna send you guys some tickets.
All right,
awesome.
Very nice, man. Appreciate it, Steve. All right, man. Take care. All right, see you. All right, there you have it, Steve Bowman, a well-deserved inductee into the 2020 Bass Fishing Hall of Fame.
Yeah, let me get back to
He's
him.
been
I'll
around
tell
a
you
long time.
Who was inducted with him. It is quite the list. You had Ron Linder, Jay Yellis, Brian Kirchhoff, James Hedden, and Steve Bowman were the 5 2020 inductees into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame.
It's unfortunate because of the COVID-19 situation that obviously the ceremonies aren't going to take place. I'm sure that they will do something next year if things get back to normal for that inductee class with the class of 2021. So I have been fortunate enough to be able to be one of the media members that actually vote for that. I think I voted the last 2 or 3 years, can't remember. So if I get to, I don't even know if I get to continue doing it.
I think you're off.
Is it
I think
3
they
years?
cycle out.
3 years?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And then you're done.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I did it the last 3 years, and you know, it's a cool deal, and I can't wait to get to Springfield to actually go through there and
I
see
can't believe
that.
you haven't done that yet.
I haven't been through there. I haven't been around it.
Take Carolyn.
Yeah.
She would enjoy it. Like just
no.
I mean, you guys are empty nesters. You literally have nothing to do except coach basketball and a podcast on fishing. Just take a night, Go up there,
Yeah.
go out to dinner.
There's actually a bowling tournament next weekend in Springfield.
There you go.
That I'm considering.
There you
So,
go. Have her go up for the night. I mean, I think she would enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know what her hobby. I know she likes crafting.
No, she'd like
What
that.
else are her hobbies? Like,
Yeah,
what does
she'd
she
like
enjoy?
that.
Because she doesn't fish.
No. She's into the whole, what is it called? Creative memories.
That's crafting.
No, that's totally different.
What's different?
Well, you're taking photos and videos, and it's like you're the family historian. That's not crafting. Crafting is building something. Like, she doesn't go out and build and crochet and do all that crap.
Crap. That's not crap.
Well-
that's building memories just not as a fancy way. She does scrapbooking, though, right?
Yeah, that's creative memories.
Yeah, that's crafting.
Crafting.
That's the
I've never
same
heard
thing.
it called crafting.
That's what
Never.
it is. Scrapbooking.
Scrapbooking.
Crafting.
Never heard the word
Same
crafting.
thing.
Anyway, I did not mean any disrespect to the crocheting.
Any of the knitters that are in
or
our
the
fan base.
crocheters. No, I did not at all. Have you ever tried to do that? Dude, it's really hard. Have you ever tried to crochet, loop twice,
Nope.
pull it through.
Nope.
Loop 3 times, pull it through.
Nope. It's very similar to hemp necklaces.
I had no idea, man. Worm dealer over here. So I want to thank Steve for being on the show. And hopefully, folks, go out, spend a little money, bid on some of the stuff that they're out there. And hopefully we will have the trip with Matt up there soon to where you can bid on that.
Was your boy on TV with the Strike King logo?
That's this week.
That's this week.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was this last
No,
week.
it's this week.
got
I will have the schedule on Wednesday, but yeah, on Fox Sports 1, Chris Prather, and I don't even know what the team that he's on. They're defending champions,
Team
though.
Sexy Shad. No?
Probably not, but he will.
Team Menace Grub.
I don't know. They will be sporting, or he will be, not they, Chris Prather, will be sporting the Striking logo on the back for a lot of visibility during their PBA League schedule. And I'll get that schedule on Wednesday. All right, everybody, no show tomorrow because I am headed back to the dentist to get my permanent crown in. Get this thing yanked off. They numb it. They give me the needle, and then they pull it off and put the permanent one on.
And then you're
there.
done with the dentist for a while.
Done with the dentist for a while. So no show tomorrow. As I mentioned earlier, Matt Herron going to be on Wednesday. Give us some insight on what he feels that Guntersville is going to be like next week. Open taking place this week.
Yeah, Lake Hartwell. A lot of rain, rising
Yeah,
water.
lot of rain.
Transition time of the year. You got rivers, docks, blueback herring bites, brush piles, spotted bass, largemouth. Tons of different things going on. A big field, a lot of practice. This one
Yeah.
is going to be very interesting. I could see it being won 17 different ways.
No, you're right, man. You're right. All right, everybody, have a very, very safe start to the week. We will be back on Wednesday. That's it. We are out of here.